Hello and welcome back to the Endeavors AI podcast. I'm your podcast host, Collin McKee, the founder of Endeavors AI. We help operators by buying back time with practical AI workflows, agents, and automations so that they can focus on the core of their business. And today's conversation is about one of the hardest problems in business, moving money across borders at speed with trust without breaking things that matter. So I'm joined with Ife Johnson, co-founder and CEO of Juicyway. Juicyway is tackling cross-border payments and some of the most complex operational environments in the world. So, welcome, Ife. And for some that are just now hearing about Juicyway for the first time, what problems are you guys actually solving?
Yeah, before I go into that, let me say hi to you, of course, and by extension,
That's
everyone listening to
time.
this. Yeah, thanks for having me on here. More than happy to talk about what we are up to. We've built something pretty interesting. I will give a quick backstory, so it provides sufficient context. I used to work in Africa's first retail stock brokerage, and before then, I used to help a business called Okta with um, FX brokerage work. So I've seen fintech as an exec at some level. That sort of puts me in a bit of a position to make certain assertions. I think the fundamental thing is, as an African, my lived experience is every single market I go into, um, I need to take my American issued dollar card before I can spend in that market, which means I need to figure out a way to get money into my dollar account in America, even if I earned Naira. And that seems like, and Naira is a Nigerian currency, and that seems like a relatively easy thing, but I'm going to unpack why it's so hard. Um, on the flip side, if I walked into Kenya, an African market right now, which is just some kilometers away from Nigeria, um, I would need to take cash, like dollar cash, not even Kenyan shillings or Nigerian in Naira. This means every single African market I go into, and that is 54 African markets, if I simply did not have a dollar card issued by a bank in the US, or if I did not have dollar cash, I couldn't spend in any of these markets. It's that simple. Like I just could not spend in any of these markets. Um, and that didn't make sense to me. It still doesn't make sense to me. And so from a personal standpoint, it's put me in a position where I had to start thinking about solution. The flip side, as an exec, the FX brokerage I worked with struggled with bringing in millions of dollars to invest in Africa. And this is like crazy because I'm just trying to invest in a new market. Why can't I just bring in my money as quickly as I need to? And the retail stock brokerage struggled with taking money from Africans, local currencies, and remitting USD to the broker in the US as quickly as it needed to get to them. And so you have that combination of personal issues that I've had and then exec issues that I've also faced, like operating in these businesses. And you see why there's a there's like this big idea just linear rent through in my head. Because I'm like, tons of people have raised capital to solve this. Why are there no solutions? When you investigate the fundamentals, you will find that there's a settlement network known as the CLS. It's called the Continuous Linked Settlement Network, right? It's co-owned by some of the largest banks in the world, JP Morgan, HSBC, some of the largest banks you can think of, right? In addition, it only has support for 18 currencies. Of those 18 currencies, there is only one African currency, the South African rand, which means there are 53 other currencies and billions of people by extension, as well as their banks and overarching financial institutions who do not have access to a settlement network that clears their currencies. Therefore, they are never always willing counterparties whenever someone has an African currency. And I can investigate the different reasons for this, production in the market, lack of, resources, corruption,
Right.
systemic issues, late developments. Like there are tons of all these issues one can talk about as contributing to this world that we have here. But one can never ignore the fact that Nigeria, for instance, by 2030 should be the 30th populous, like most populous country in the world. When you benchmark across other African countries and not currencies, the growth rate on a population basis is just ridiculous. And so you have this group of people who are growing at a ridiculous rate, faster than the rest of the world is growing from a population standpoint, who simply do not have a payment network that supports that growth rate or supports the world that they're going to become or the world that we are growing into. Um, so when you combine my personal problems, combine, my exec problems, combine this phenomenal, population to infrastructure distribution ratio, you see why came out to do this. It's like
Sure. 100%.
something out to give, something out to give.
Yeah. Yeah. Very real. I mean, gap, pain point, whatever kind of label you want to put on it, it's real. And congratulations or good on you for trying to solve it. Was there a particular catalyst where you said, no more, I have to do something about it? And what was that?
Yeah,
And tell us a little about
yeah.
a bit.
There were a few catalysts. So I've been in crypto for a while. And I owned my first Bitcoin in 2016. Long time. That's 10 years ago from now. Before then, I was trading in Telegram bots, you know, trading order books across random platforms. I just was that guy that adopted crypto pretty early. And I always saw crypto as useful for two things. One, creating arbitrage opportunities to make money on the go. Second, potentially as an investment. And that was then until the paradigm shift I had. While at Bamboo, I wanted to, as the chief of staff and head of growth at Bamboo, I was tasked with creating new asset classes, that could expand the product offering that Bamboo had. And I naturally thought we had stocks. Bamboo is a stock trading platform, by the way. We had stocks, we get exposure to the New York Stock Exchange. How about we just add crypto? Then I did the research. While doing the research, I just found all the crypto activity, not some, at least 95% of the crypto activity that was relating to the continent was payments, you know. Finding out that crypto and stable coins by extension give Africans real-time access to the dollar in a better way than correspondent banking can was the critical insight. And so that was one catalyst. The second catalyst was my sister, like I just paid for a trip for my sister to go to, Kenya. She just needed a break. And on our way to that trip, I realized I had to ask someone to go give back cash in Kenya just because I couldn't get a dollar card to her that she could use. And even if she had gotten a dollar card from her local bank in Nigeria, that card would not have worked in Kenya. Meaning, if I did not get my US card to her, it should not have cash. And all she had was, and when I say cash dollar, all she had was Nigerian currency in Naira. She just could not spend in Kenya, another African country. So that was the second catalyst. The third catalyst was like, I generally do work as a contribution to common grace. I'm very big on my Christian faith. And so I see work as a contribution to common grace. So when I started to think about the next stage of my career, right, I made some money in my career pretty early. I made some money from crypto. I made some money through some entrepreneurial opportunities. I built a robust network. I needed to do something next that seemed like a significant challenge, but was also contributing to common grace in the way that I've explained it.
Cool. Very good. So as you've grown this, and I'm sure you've had some hurdles or things have gotten complex. What's shown up to be, presented the most complexity? Is it compliance? Is it liquidity? customer support, or what have been the challenges that you've seen so far? Okay. Hmm. Right. I'm sure. Right. Yep. So has there been a large educational piece to it too, to kind of let people know or instruct them what stable coins are, and help them actually trust that process? Hmm. Right. Yeah, it's a tall ask, and I'm sure there's plenty of headwind, especially, you're trying to overarchingly gain trust when there's a lot of corruption in the area. So that's a tall task. Um, Yep. Well, congratulations. More power to you. So yeah, just a quick pause right here in the center, just to talk to our viewership. If you're enjoying what you're seeing and enjoying the topic, I encourage you to like the podcast, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you have some views you'd like to share, or anything that you might like to see us cover in future episodes. But with that said, kind of try to bring the discussion back to, because it is the Endeavors AI podcast, kind of the topic of AI. So, Ife, what are you seeing as far as automation already helping you in your operations today at Juicyway, if at all? Hopefully, Okay. Hmm. Right. Right. Hmm. Right. Right. Is there anything that you think that AI could help with, but you're kind of cautious to offload to a workflow because of trust or compliance issues in the field that you work? I'm sure there is, but if there's nothing top of mind. Okay. Sure. Yep. It's all about buying your time back so you can focus on what matters. Sure. Um, Excellent. Well, so looking forward, if you could paint a picture or ultimately where you'd like to see Juicy Way, what would it look like in, say, 2, 3 years' time? How would it be different, bigger, reach, things of that nature? Hmm. Right. Well, I wish you the best with it. Best of luck. I think you're well on your way. So, just kind of as a recap, if you were to give advice to someone, and you could even kind of rephrase this to your younger self when you're starting out, what do you encourage these founders to understand about building something like this in a very regulated, high trust environment? What's one thing, one piece of advice you would give them? Okay. Mm, awesome. Great advice. Ife, I really appreciate it. So, where would people be able to learn more and follow Juicy Way's journey and kind of see how things are progressing? Wow, excellent, cool, excellent. I'll leave some links down below for our viewers to click on and explore more. Ipe, I really appreciate it. This has been a great, eye opening, candid conversation. I appreciate you for joining us. Thank you very much. Cheers.